Hello everyone and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is January the 29th, 2022. And we have come to the end of the year and our last podcast for the year. So we're going to do a little recap. For those of you that may have missed it and weren't with me last week or even missed a few episodes while I was opening my Advent minis, I thought I would just very quickly show them to you again. So you see behind me the one that was dyed special to my preferences and colors, and this is from a company called Pook Yarn, and those yarns, which you can now see the gradient working through, those yarns are merino silk mix. Very beautiful texture, and I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm almost positive I'm going to be separating it into two projects. What you see on each board, what goes in the middle, I may end up putting a few more gray over here. Not sure, I haven't picked the projects yet. But what I have been thinking of is if I do a project that requires like a line break, I'm going to show you one I kind of like a little later, needs a break between it. I'm trying to decide whether to use, this is the same material, merino nylon blend, and put that as the line break between them. It is a gray, but maybe it's too much gray. Or I could put a white. I'd be interested to know your opinions. Or I could even do a black, and again, this is a merino nylon blend. It is from EFA, and I could put the black in it. If I need to put a color break, I might do something where I don't need a color break. But what color did you think looked the best? Then that was one, the one from Pook. And then here is another one. This one came from Yarn Unique in the UK. And I think I can get back far enough that you can see the whole thing. And I know for sure that I am going to break this one in two, right about in here, probably, or here, probably here though. I'll take 12 this way, and I'll take 12 going this way, because 12 makes like between 900 and 1,000 yards, and that's certainly enough to make a number of things. I'm looking at some asymmetrical triangles or a bias scarf. So that was the second one. And the third one, which is a little busier in color, and this one is from Bramble Ridge in British Columbia. And these colors are a mixture, and I know I'll be breaking this up and using the colors with other things. So that is the up-to-date full version of my mini calendars, and I really enjoyed those Advent calendars. They were fun to open. I loved the colors and everything else. Next year I'll probably do different companies altogether, and I'm looking at doing another 3 or 4, and I'm even looking at getting an Advent for July to do Christmas in July. We'll see what happens. So let's talk about FOs. Now, the first FO we'll mention is what I am wearing. I did not do this recently. This is from a while back, but I had a request asking, how on earth do you wear an asymmetrical triangle? And you can see there are YouTube videos out there that do show you different ways to wear them based on how big they are. Now, if I had the one that I had out last week, that was our crochet shawl game, that one was big and that would wrap around many times. This one is smaller. I put the point sort of to the side, but I'll take it off and show you. It is quite small, and this was from a hand-dyed cake. There was a gradient cake. You can see it starts here at a yellowy green and progresses through to a bluish color, and it's not overly large. And if you wanted to wear the point at the front, it could be done putting it here and wrapping it around. The tail at the back, of course, is smaller, but that's not a problem. I do see a little more often that people will put a shawl pin of some sort on it's still going to have this sort of straight edge over here. People do put shawl pins in asymmetrical triangles to kind of keep them in place, as they are often smaller and a little more awkward. But the point can go at the back as well. So that's an example of an asymmetrical shawl, and it's a finished object I brought out of my stash from a couple years ago for sure. Next, I did finish something this week, and that is the baby blankets I was talking about. So I did 2 different patterns. The first one I did, and remember I had bought this Dazzle Air by Karen out of eBay. It's a vintage yarn, baby color for sure. It's not the softest yarn, and the yarn caught on itself a lot, so it wasn't the nicest to work with either. I wish I had used something else, but I had this, so I used it. And I had 8 balls, and you can see I used maybe half of this last ball. That's all I have left. And here's the first baby blanket. I did not measure them, but I'm thinking they're somewhere 38 to 40 inches square, and I did the which way fillet. And that is a pattern you will see on Fiber Spiders. He did the tutorial on his channel, and I will link it below. And the second, remember we're getting twins here, and the second one I made was called the Granny Merge. You know how I like the Granny Merge shawl? Well, there is a Granny Merge blanket out there, and here it is. Just a minute. Did I tell you the wrong one? Here's the Granny Merge blanket. And again, I will link it below. It is done by a channel called Blossom. I don't know, there may be others out there, but that's the one that I used in the Which Way Fillet. So the baby blankets are done, and I'm so happy because my nieces are coming tomorrow, so I can give it to them and they can deliver it to the recipient because they live blocks apart. So that was completed, and they've been in the washer and the dryer. That yarn would wash and dry. I wanted to test it, and I finished them I think on Monday. So now I had decided that when I was finished those, that I was going to, actually I wanted from holiday to holiday, Sunday to Sunday, but Monday to Monday's fine. I had decided I was going to take a week off. No crocheting for a week. I was going to find other things to do, just to give myself a bit of a break. Now, I love to read, and hopefully I will pick up a book and read, although I'm in the habit of listening to audiobooks mostly. and I like to do jigsaw puzzles, and I did get one out, and it's on the table in the next room, and it has been started, but I could very well finish it today or tomorrow, and I don't know if I'll get another one out or not. We'll see. And I also have this diamond painting, which is something I won. I don't want to put it up too far. Oh, there. I won this from Reggie, I don't know, late spring. And I have never done diamond painting before, so I thought for sure I will do this during my week off. But that's the kind of thing I would do in the daytime because I want decent light to see what's going on there. And I can tell already I'm going to have trouble going a whole week without crocheting. So I believe I'll be picking up a hook before the week is over and working on something, but something easy and relaxing. I already spent a little time doing a couple of my granny squares. I talked about that in a previous issue if you want to see more about that. I'm in no hurry to get that finished. So what else will I work on this week? I don't know, but I don't think I'm going to be going a week without crocheting. I think I maybe will spend some time going through my yarn and seeing if there's anything that I need to destash. And I think I'm going to be going through my yarn to pick out, actually I'll be going through my patterns to pick out patterns to go with my various Advent minis and to pick out a pattern to go with some of the CAL items I'm going to be doing this year. Now remember, I mentioned the CAL last week, and while I'm on the topic, I want to remind you that there will be a video coming out next week on Monday, January the 2nd, that will tell you all about the CALs and get you started for the January CAL, because there'll be one each month that ties into a theme. So I hope you'll check out that video and join me in some of those CALs. So we'll see. I'm sure I'm going to be crocheting before the week is out. And just before I go on, I also want to mention a little bit of happy mail. I got this really cute, I thought it was llamas until I looked closer, and I'm thinking, well, maybe they are llamas. One time I look at it, they're llamas. Next time I look at it and I see like polar bears and other bears. But anyhow, I got this cute Christmas card from Gary at Urban Yarn. Hi, Gary. Thank you very much. It's an adorable card. And I hope you had a great Christmas as well. And I hope all of you had a great Christmas or are enjoying this holiday season. We still have one more to come. Now I wanted to spend a little time, this is the time of the year where people kind of recap what they've done for the year, that kind of thing. Well, I don't want to recap everything I did for the year. We would be here all day. But what I did want to do a recap on, as my title shows, is my Make 9 card. Now, I'm going to put my Make 9 card up here, just so you recall what was on it. And where possible, I'm going to zoom in on the item I am talking about. Now, obviously, the Make 9 card has 9 items on it to make for the year, and that was my plan. Didn't do very well, I am sad to say, which is not typical of me. I find that kind of thing a challenge to try to complete. But within weeks, I knew I wasn't going to do the one, if I can zoom in on it, it was a scarf from CJ Brady that uses what's called the lover's knot or Solomon's knot. And I have yet to really tackle that and make something with it, and I just decided that item was not going to be made. But I'm going to zoom in now on the first one I did, which was the hex shawl or scarf, and I made it far bigger than I should have. But as my friend likes to point out, there are people that are bigger than me or like things bigger than me. And this shawl, I'll back up, starts with the hexagon in the middle, and then it moves out and it decreases in the dark and increases the light color on both sides. And those of you that were with me last winter when I made it, because I think I started right away in January, it was actually longer. And in the end, I decided to take a little bit of it off. But this is super soft. It's made with cash silk sock from EFA. And if I put it around me, you can see that it is quite lengthy. It goes out, I don't have it quite in the middle, but it goes out past my fingertips on both sides, and I have long arms. So that was the first item I made. I was quite happy with it. I'm going to take the smaller one off and leave the bigger one on because the smaller one would fall anyway. So I was quite happy with this. It worked out well, and it's very comfy. A little big, but that's okay. Some people like big. It goes down the back a decent amount for a wrap. I have it all curled up at the neck, but it does go down the back. Then the next item I made, trying to think of the name of it. I want to call it Whimsy, but that's not it. It starts something like that, but I'm going to zoom in on it. And if I recall correctly, I think I made 3 of it. I know I made 2. The first one I made, I did in a DK weight, which made it maybe a little bigger than it should. Then I went back and did one solid sort of color in a very lightweight, an Oasis fingering. These used Sparkle DK. This is an EFA pattern and EFA yarn. It's Expression Fiber Arts for those of you that are new. And of course you can see it's very much in my colors. It works up very quick and easy when you're using a DK weight. I made a substantial sized one though in the fingering weight as well. And I don't make tassels a lot, but there it is. Well, maybe I should just model this one now. So this one was fun to make, and I liked it well enough to make 2 or 3 versions of it, and quite pretty, and was a way to use some of my Sparkle DK. You see, I have a lot of Sparkle DK, and my plan is to start using some of that. I might even combine some of them and make some items in the coming year. So quite pretty, I think, and I enjoyed making that one. Then what did I do next? Let's zoom in on this poncho. Now I had a little problem finding colors, but I finally did get some Red Heart, just the normal Red Heart yarn, because they had Red Heart Stripes, I believe it was called, and it had the bright colors like that. Because I saw the picture that way, I wanted to make it that way. And so here it is finished. There is no real front or back, but there is the poncho. Very bright colors. And then I just put, of course, a black with it. And this is made by making, this 1/2 is a shawl. If I open it the other way, you can see this is a shawl and this is a shawl. And then it is joined at the sides, up the sides, with leaving an opening for the neck, and then joined on the other side. So if you put it in the direction to give you the V of a poncho, you have this. And it feels nice now. At the time it felt very stiff, but I guess that's typical of Red Heart, and it will soften if it's washed. I have not washed it. But I love the colors. I did take out 2 of the colors. There was a lime green and a yellow in that ball. I think it's called Polo. And I just stayed with those colors. which was more than enough anyway. So that was my third item that I made, and it turned out fine. Now you see another poncho there. I'm going to try and zoom in on it, and it is all bright colored but a big open weave, and it is made with two rectangles that are joined in the way I've shown you before. I just could not find yarn that pleased me. I don't know. I just have something in my head that I want. It's very heavy yarn to start with. If you want it to be the right size, big enough to wear. I mean, I have lots of yarn, but a lot of this yarn is like fingering weight. And that needs at least a DK, but more likely a worsted weight yarn. And my worsted weight is limited. And more of it is solid, and that takes like a variegated kind of yarn. So that one didn't get made, and will it ever get made? I don't know. If I happen to come across a yarn that speaks to me for that, I will make it, because I would like to try the pattern, but it's up in the air if I'll ever make that again. That. Then there is a shawl. So let's zoom in on the shawl. It's called Sunshine something. Sunshine on a Rainy Day. I don't know. It's done with a color gradient cake, and I was going to use a color gradient cake, and then I realized I had this one that I had gotten from Stenley, and it's merino acrylic. And I thought, oh, it'll work perfect. It's not as bright or vibrant, but it's still quite beautiful. And so there is the finished. It's done like, it has like 4 pieces of the pie. And because it curves up, it would drape over the shoulders and hold better than a shawl that is straight across. So, and it's quite sizable. And it has a border on it, you can see. And the only thing about this when I was done is it turned out to be much heavier than I would have planned. Oh, I showed you the wrong side. This side has, sorry about that. This side has posts, front posts in it. Lovely pattern. It's a pattern I would definitely consider making again. I'm not a big post fan, but it is beautiful, and it wasn't overly hard. So a beautiful rainbow. So I was happy to finish that. Now there is another shawl, and let's see if I can zoom in on this other. It's kind of a shawl scarf combination. See if I can zoom in on that. And I really liked it. I had planned to do it this fall. I loved I think it has short rows in it that I've never done before. And I know what yarn I want to use for it. But unfortunately, life got in the way. And so I didn't get it finished. I didn't get to it at all. Because if you remember, in the fall, we found a place that was happy to receive shawls from my friend and I, and so I put all my energies into making so many shawls so we would have enough for every one of their residents. So didn't get done some of the things that I wanted to do, and that is top of the list of items I really want to try in the new year, and I have another one similar to it. And then that was 4 items. So here's the 5th item. And this is my favorite one that I did this year. It's called the Moni shawl. And it is the first time I've done a circular shawl. Again, you can see it's in my kind of colors. And I really like it. I used the entire cake. And it was a cake, I don't think it was a Hobie cake. I think it might have been a yarn art, but I can't swear. It might have even been a Stenley cake. You know what? I think it's a sheepy's cake. Yeah, I think it's a sheepy's. So there it is, the Moni shawl, and I really, really like it. But it is a lot of work. I learned that when you do a circular shawl, it takes forever to do a row when you get out a fair piece, and it's very time consuming. But that is the fifth item I finished, and that's all that I finished. Now, there's one other item on that Make 9 I haven't shown you yet, and I'm going to zoom in on it now, and that is one more poncho. And that's one I really wanted to get done. Zooming in, I hope you can see it. And it was in a particular color that I really wanted to do. I just want to turn the heat down. This room is cold and I put on a heater when I get here, but it's getting warm now. I really wanted to make it. It is made with granny squares, but a very different pattern than your typical granny pattern. It's a very lacy pattern, and you join the squares as you go, and that's something I've never done. And I had in my mind to make it those kinds of colors, and I couldn't find anything that was quite the right weight. I did have a yarn that was the right color, but it was too thin, and it was Hobie's Universe. But they did have it in a heavier weight. They have Hobie's Universe XL. But every time I went to get it, they were out of the color I wanted. So here it is. This color looks very similar to the color in the picture. And this is considered, I believe, a DK weight. Does it say so on here? No, it doesn't say so on here. But I would consider it a DK weight, which will work better than the other one. The other one they call it fingering, but it's a very fine fingering, and I've worked with it, and it is very fine. So I wanted something with a little more weight. This also has sparkle, so I have ordered. I think I have 4 of these cakes, which should be enough to make that poncho. So be watching. It'll get made probably in the late spring because it is such an open poncho that I hope to make it for the summer. So that's my Make 9. I ended up only making 5 of the 9, but I fully intend to make 2 more of them, and I hope to make them in the spring, early summer. And while we're at it, I will show you what I also got from Hobie. I got sales where it was like 50 some percent off. That's why I got this. And I like their carnival. So I bought some of that as well. It was 49 or 51% off. And their carnival is very much like Red Heart Unforgettable or Landscape from Lion Brand. So I bought shawl quantities of these. So this one and this one, Rainbow Bright, my kind of colors. This one, I may even have one of these in the house somewhere. These are 240 meters, 262 yards, 100% acrylic. So, and finally, I think this one is gorgeous. I got this one. See, it has dark blues in it along with the purples. Yes. So I'll be looking for things to make shawls, probably to make with those sometime in the coming year. Now, I wanted to do one other thing. Excuse me while I have a little sip here. At this time of the year, it gets very, very dry. And we had quite a snowstorm and blizzard, terrible winds this past weekend. So it is getting drier. I had some people tell me that they really enjoyed seeing the Advent collection, Advent bundle of patterns using Advent minis or scraps, because Who doesn't have scraps in their house? And in fact, that video got 100 or more views, more than any of my other videos. And at the time, I showed you a little bit of the patterns, and I have people say they would like to see more. They would like me to tell them more about the patterns. So I thought I would do a little of that today. And that's why I showed you the Advent Minis again. And I'm going to talk about a few of the patterns. What I did this time was I picked ones to show you that I thought were very unique in their shape or how they were done. And I thought I would show those to you. I will try to go very quickly though, because I don't want to take forever. So I picked out 3 that were very different, and then a 4th one that I'm interested in doing, maybe with these yarns. So the first one is called the Milkweed Leaf Shawl. You'll see a picture up here of the page where it is. And then I'm going to click on the pattern itself to show you the pattern page. There are 6 projects done for this pattern. I just thought this was very, very interesting. I want to point out something else on this pattern page. They tell you things like how much yard you might need, the cost of it. They show you various pictures. But a lot of Ravelry patterns that you can purchase on Ravelry, the designer will also have a blog. And they often offer that same pattern for free on their blog. You just have to be prepared that it's very long with lots of ads and it interrupts the flow of the pattern. But if you don't want to put a lot of money out into patterns, you can go to their blogs and you'll see, I think you can see it on this page, it says visit my website, and it's got a link to the website. Anyhow, I'm going to show you a close-up so that you can see the motifs. Again, this is, the granny square idea, only these are circular. And I saw a page where somebody had them all laid out. And I don't know if you join them as you go or you make them all and join them later. But with all that laciness, I would expect you want to join one to the other as you're making them. Otherwise, you got a lot of ends, and where do you go in the lace with all of those ends? But it's made of motifs, and I've shown you a close-up of it, and I think I had another picture showing some other versions. Next one I want to look at is called the Riptide Wrap. Again, this is one I would consider making. Looking at the page, you will see there are 14 projects, so I'm going to bring up part of the page showing you some of the versions done in different colors. Some really beautiful versions of it. You can see that some of them have put multicolors in the wedges, I guess you could call them, going up. And it's broken with stripes of a single color. Some have used solid colors going up. Others have used a fade going up. Some have just used a variety. Others have done it the other way, and they've taken one solid color in the wedges going up, and they changed the colors in the stripes going up. They did a fade in the stripes. So I have a few versions I've been showing you as I talked that were done each way. And I want to show you a real close-up of one of them. I might even have 2 here. A real close-up where it's spread out enough that you can see what the shape looks like. And the rows are very close together at the top, and then they get wider and wider. Sort of kind of the idea of the one on my Make 9 that I didn't make. And I'm thinking I may do the one on the Make 9, and then I will attempt this one. Again, it has to have short rows in it to, I think, to get that kind of shape, but very unique. And also, I didn't mention, but on the pages where you can see many, you'll notice I have started to put notes, things like it takes 1 solid and 6 minis and that kind of thing. I tried to put some notes under some of these. And then third one I want to show you is called the Hooked Dragon. And again, I picked this because of its unique shape. And it does have the feel of those dragon scales. This one, there were 19 projects done. They give you an idea of how popular they are, but it's so nice to see the others. So here it is. I opened up the projects, and here are several of the projects. And again, some have used fades in the progression of the color, which is broken by a solid color. Or they've used scraps, so it could be a variety of colors in each section. But it is different than the last one, not the same shape. It does have that dragon tail shape to it, as you see one laid out with the curls in it. And here's a close-up of one that's done in browns, according to my notes, done in browns with colors throughout. And here is one done using, I'm quite sure they used a color-changing cake for this one. Cake that you can get from Hobbii, or the cakes that you get from Yarn Art, some of the cakes from Stenley. This is a color-changing cake in those sections with the break of some other contrasting color. So those were 3 very unique shaped items, and I want to show you this last one. I hope I can say this right. Orchid Delirium. And this is one I really like, and it's what I was talking about. It starts in the middle. First of all, I want to show you various versions in different colors. I really like the main one the best. But it starts in the middle, so I'm going to flash a picture here, I think, that shows it starts in the middle with a V going each way. They are done separately. They've done the V, and then it has the outside part, and it does the whole thing, and then it does the other side the same way, and they're attached at the middle. And I'm wondering about using one of these color fades. Remember, the gray would be in the middle and fade out to the color, and using one of these colors as that solid line, the white, not solid line. It's white in the main picture, and it's very lacy. So this would be like that, white with lacy. But I'm thinking that white is too stark. Maybe the gray would be better throughout the whole thing. Maybe the best one would be this, the blues with that gray. But it would be possible to put the black with it as well. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking about it. Would love to hear your opinions. But those are some projects that I thought were a little bit different in the scrappy patterns to show you. All right, I have a couple of other things to do before I say goodbye and finish out the year with you. The first is, I'm sure you're all wondering about the winners from my previous 2 videos. The first one would be the Christmas Advent, not Christmas Advent, I gotta think, not do. The Winter Yarny YouTube Hop. I did a Winter Yarny YouTube Hop, and I said that somebody was going to win. I wanted to wrap it in tissue, but it won't fit in the pockets. But somebody is going to win this hook, beautiful blue hook with the flowers and the sparkles, and it's a 5.5, And with it, they were going to get this holder for hooks, which is quite stiff. It's like a heavy canvas. And there is, I didn't make this. I got on Etsy, and that is the maker of it. And these fit in the slots. And if you have Furls hooks, they fit. Some of you may have the polymer ones, and they fit. So the winner is Debbie. I hope I say this right, Debbie. She's a very loyal follower. Debbie Perea, I'm thinking. Debbie has won this. And Debbie, you need to send me an email, but I'm already aware of your address as you won something, I'm sure, during my podiversary. So I'll be getting this out in the mail to you next week when I get busy going out and about again. So Debbie has won this. Congratulations. Now, on my last video where I finished up the Advents and I said I wanted to give a Christmas present to some of my loyal viewers, I will note that I had a few less comments, but I'm sure it's because people were caught up in the holidays. And I don't have pictures of each of them. I'm just going to put a piece of paper here with the names printed out. But these are the people that won a free pattern. I already know what pattern you want, but if you have a Ravelry account, I need you to email me with your Ravelry name. So I picked 3 winners, and those winners are Brat's mom, who I happen to know is Linda. So get in touch with me, Linda. Then Deb Morgana. I hope I said that right, Deb. Deb Morgana, please let me know what your Ravelry name is. And finally, Licorice's Crochet Mom, and I know her name is Jane. All of you that have unusual names to hide your identity, I'd appreciate at some point if you told me your actual name so I can address you by name when I make my comments. But those 3 people, Brat's mom, Deb Morgana, and Licorice's Crochet Mom, would you please send me an email? It's in the description box below, but it's judyscreations21@gmail.com. Send me an email with your Ravelry name, and I will send you the pattern of your choice, which you've already told me. I'll send it right to your Ravelry account. So I want to thank those people for watching my video and commenting on my video. And last of all, I just want to remind you that you will be getting an extra video on January the 2nd, that's next Monday, telling you all about the cow that I intend to do next year, and really, really hope that many of you will participate. Whether you do it 1 month, all 12 months, or 2 or 3 months is your choice. But I'd love to have people participate and send me items they have made. So please be watching for that. Next week, will I have any finished objects? Well, it's doubtful since I told myself I'm not going to crochet this week, but if I don't, I will definitely go into my stash and find you a couple of items. I have some yarn acquisitions, so I'm going to start showing yarn acquisitions in the new year. And I have other things planned as we go. So I hope you'll be back to join me in the new year when we talk about what's ahead for 2023. But in the meantime, I hope you have enjoyed what I had to share with you through 2022. I got to get used to saying the new year. It's been a great year, and I have loved having you with me on this journey. So until we meet again in the new year, happy hooking.